Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield, the host of Manny Talks Shooting, and welcome to another episode. This is the shooting podcast where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you like this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Talks Shooting. And without further ado, let's get to this episode. Manny Talks Shooting is proudly presented to you by D2 Custom Guns. Did you know that Phil the Groundhog isn't the only thing Puxatawny, Pennsylvania is famous for? That's right, D2 Custom Guns, the home of Dan Heizenreiter and one of the best, fabulous 2011 builders in the country. So make sure you guys go check him out, D2 Custom, anywhere you can see him on the social media, Facebook, Instagram, go check him out. If you see myself, Patches Reader, anyone with the D2 Custom Guns, make sure you go check him out, and you will thank me later. Now, let's get on to the show. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Manny Talks Shooting, the shooting podcast on the internet, because that's how you absorb all of your content nowadays. You don't even have television. You have streaming services. So just think about this. Manny Talks Shooting streaming service. Even though this is free and you don't have to pay for it, it's okay. This show, too, is proudly presented to you by D2 Custom Guns, one of the finest, fabulous 2011 builders in the country. Go check out d2customguns.com. Talk to Dan Heizenreiter. Order yourself your gun in the off-season because you know you want it sooner than later, but you want to be able to dry fire with it in the off-season so you can come out swinging. So go check out d2customguns.com and tell them that Manny sent you. Without further ado, we're going to talk to my buddy who likes to drive around the country. He's not wearing his famous cowboy hat, but he is. We got Aaron Brulc. How you doing, Aaron?
Not too bad. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. It's going to be a good show. We're gonna talk about USPSA, IDPA, all these things. So, guys, just because he shoots IDPA doesn't mean he's a bad person. He actually shoots. He's a good shooter. So it's okay. Don't judge him purely on the fact that he shoots IDPA. But Aaron, like most people probably don't know you unless they've seen you in Kentucky. But who are you, and how did you get into shooting?
Well, I didn't get into competitive shooting until I moved to Kentucky, and it was after I retired from the Navy. And I had heard about action pistol shooting, and somebody I worked with talked about a gun club, and I said, "Hey, I'll go check it out." And yes, I did go to an IDPA match. Was my first match that I went to, and I happened to show up at a classifier match, and it was the old IDPA classifier. And here I am, Navy veteran, deployed 2 times, combat veteran in Iraq, taking Blackwater classes. I thought, okay, hey, I can handle myself with a pistol. And I realized that I was worse than a novice. And I had kind of reflected on that. And, I had been concealed carrying for a couple of years and just realized, hey, I suck with a pistol. And just gave me a goal to get better. That was really my focus, was just get better gun handling skills.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and as we both know, practical shooting does do that, right? You definitely become a good gun handler, shooting the sport. So you came in, worse than a novice. How did that make you feel?
It was horrible. I mean, it was also humbling, and I actually have an interesting story about that. Right after, it was like kind of between that first IDPA match and my first USPSA match, because matter of fact, there was somebody at that IDPA match said, "Hey, why don't you check out USPSA?" And I was trying to figure out what kind of gun to use, and kind of what should I shoot, because I didn't really have but maybe 1 or 2 pistols at the time. And I was at a local gun shop, kind of looking around, asking questions, saying, "Hey, what can I use for competition?" And the irony of this story is just absolutely amazing. So this was in mid 2014, right when I started competitive shooting, and this other customer kind of heard me talking about pistols and asking. He came over and he goes, "Hey, sorry, don't want to mind interrupt you, but what's your goal?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? I don't understand." And he goes, "What's your goal?" He goes, "I heard you mention IDPA or USPSA. Like, is it master, grandmaster?" And I was like, I didn't even know what those terms were. And I said, "No, dude, I'm just I'm just trying to get better with a pistol. I was that kid that got hit in the face with the softball because he had no hand-to-eye coordination. I was like, there's no chance of me being a master. Like, I'm not going to be good at this. I'm like, I just want to, feel I can protect my family with a concealed carry." And he's like, "Dude, you're selling yourself short." He's like, "Anybody can be a master, grandmaster. Just focus, put training into it, put effort into it, and just want to do it." And I really literally laughed that guy away. Like, yeah, like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's like, whatever, dude. And again, that was mid 2014, maybe late 2014. And 3 to 4 years later, I was a 4 division IDPA master. And I tell people that story that get discouraged, especially when they come to their first match and they're bad, and they get penalties, or they're just not very confident with it. And I tell them that story, like, hey, I was that guy who thought, there's no time I could ever be good at this, and I still don't think I'm very good at this, but I've learned a lot and I'm way better than I ever was when I started. So you can do it and you can succeed. So that's why I want to tell that story.
Right, and which is a great story. I mean, yeah, like, and then there's the opposite end of the spectrum, the guy who thinks they know everything, that they're gonna be super good coming into it, and then they get discouraged because they can't shoot themselves out of a paper bag. But, you mentioned you're a, 4 division master, which is a little weird for me to say because, master, I always think USPSA, it's like, oh, it's a second tier down, but no, masters are in IDPA. Um, so was it figuring out the gun handling first, or was it figuring out how to shoot IDPA?
Honestly, for me, it was the gun handling. Um,
Mhm.
I thought I knew the fundamentals of manipulating a pistol, and I really didn't. I know there's lots of, hey, the IDPA rules and all that other stuff. It's not as bad as people make it out to be. It is when you try to go really fast and don't understand all of the nits and the nitty gritty of things. But ultimately, if you can shoot a gun, you can shoot a gun. You can be good in either sport.
Mhm.
And for me, I just never had really good fundamentals. Um, I'd had a Blackwater basic course with a pistol, and that was about the only thing I had before I deployed. Our primary weapon system was a carbine. Pistol was there for backup. We never practiced with it past initial training. So
Right. Which is interesting. So, what division in IDPA did you start shooting? Or, I guess, everyone gets slumped into some division when they absolutely start. But when you started to actually play the game, what division did you start in? Really?
the first match, I think I shot SSP, but I quickly went to ESP, mostly just based on the gun that I had at the time. So my first gun purchase after that meeting, meeting that gentleman in the gun shop, was a Kimber 1911 9 millimeter. That was my first true IDPA. I purchased that gun just to shoot IDPA.
Gotcha. So, and you can shoot a 1911 in CDP and ESP.
Now, so ESP, yes, if it's 9 millimeter. CDP, you can have a 1911 or a plastic gun, but it's got to be at 45 ACP.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. So, okay, so you shot the Kimber 1911, and how long until you left that division?
It wasn't too long, actually. It was right into to 2015 when IDPA created CCP, compact carry pistol. Think Glock 19. That's
Mhm.
really, width wise, box wise, that's what CCP was really started with. And I jumped right into that. And I pretty much held on to CCP for a good 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, and then roughly that's what, 2016, 2017, roughly. When did PCC become a thing in IDPA?
So I shot PCC nationals when IDPA had PCC separate nationals in 2019, which I DQ'd from that match. That's another subject. But I personally didn't really start shooting PCC until about 2 years ago. So actually, I shot that national match as a marksman.
Ooh, sandbagger.
Yeah, everybody said that.
Well, and I don't know. It just seems it's more prevalent, I guess, in like IDPA, where it's, I guess, is it harder to sandbag in IDPA because you can kind of bump up based off of like number of matches or number of people in the match changes the bump.
So what's interesting is folks on both sides of the fence have the exact same expectation for the other side of the fence.
Mhm.
Because what I see is it's easier to sandbag in USPSA. And some people like myself in USPSA, I am just bad at classifiers. Like, people are like, "Oh, you're still a B class in production," and I've been a B class since I was an IDPA expert, and I am just horrible at classifiers in USPSA. And IDPA, it used to be a much more lengthy classifier. Now it's pretty simple and pretty quick. They call it the 5x5 because it's
Hmm.
literally 25 rounds. And they have a bump system now. So if you're shooting major matches, it's pretty hard to sandbag. Now, if you're only shooting locals, you can definitely sandbag an IDPA. There's no doubt about it.
Right, because it depends. So where does because like the bump system changed? How does that really affect it then?
So at a major match, you basically, if you win your division, so first place, you need to beat five people that are either below you in classification or above you. And then second place is 10 people, third place is 15. So it's a rule of five.
Hmm.
So depending on the size of the match, if you go to a rather sizable match, basically your first and second at least are going to get a bump.
Gotcha. Now, is it possible to double bump? So say I'm terrible at this. So experts below marksman, right? Or is it vice versa?
Uh, Expert, it goes novice, marksman, sharpshooter, expert, master, and then distinguished master.
Okay. So say I'm a marksman. Can I double bump, or
No,
I can only go up one?
no. So the only place in IDPA where you can technically bump more than one classification level is at nationals. So say you are an expert and you won your division or were within 3% of the division champion, you can get distinguished master.
Oh, okay.
And nationals is the only place that you can achieve distinguished master.
Right. And there's not that, but when did they add distinguished master?
It's been there as long as I've been shooting IDPA.
Oh, okay. So there's a good handful of distinguished masters, but not too many.
Yeah. I mean, but it is possible to move up rather quickly. So, for instance, I think it was in 2018 in SSP, in 3 weeks, I went from sharpshooter to master. And what happened was I shot Great Lakes Regional in Michigan and I was a sharpshooter. And I didn't find out until 2 weeks later that I had bumped to expert. And I went to shoot the Illinois State match. And I got this notification that, hey, by the way, you got bumped to expert from sharpshooter. And so I contacted the match director and I'm like, sorry, last minute, my classification changed. I'm expert. So I pulled up my Glock 34 at the time, had never shot it in competition. I'm like, I'm safe. I'm not going to do anything. First place expert bumped master. I was like, I really didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, not then you're just stuck. Then you get to compete in master.
That's it.
So there's this big stigma or dogma that you can be a master in IDPA, but only truly kind of have the skill level of like a B class shooter. I mean, is that just a fallacy that a lot of people spread because they don't like both sports?
I think ultimately the answer to that question is yes. It can be both directions. Like I have seen it. Sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. I mean, I'd encourage you to look at some of IDPA national scores from this year. There was a junior expert PCC shooter who beat a grandmaster, a USPSA grandmaster PCC shooter. So is that about gun handling skills? Of course not, right? That's just about the match and the difficulty of it and maybe shooting styles or something like that. It doesn't necessarily equate to real skills behind that weapon.
Right. Yeah. No, you're definitely correct on that. Now, where was IDP Nationals this year?
This year it was in Talladega.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. That was like the same time as Area 5, I want to think. So like the middle of August or something.
I didn't go, so
What? This is probably right. You're probably at Area 5. But I see what you're saying. Yes. Like now, everyone talks about, points down, right? When you first started shooting IDPA, was it half a second or was it a
it,
full second?
it was a half a second.
Now, as a shooter, which do you think is more fair, or which is more realistic, half second or the whole second?
I I think the full second makes you own your shots and it makes you focus on accuracy. That's always a huge debate to folks. And what's interesting is I hear both sides. I hear IDPA guys talk, oh, USPSA is just spray and pray. And it's because they don't shoot USPSA majors and they don't actually understand that, guys are going that fast and they're that accurate. And I encourage them. I'm like, hey, it's on practice score. Pull up the results and actually look at it and do some analysis. And you'll find out, yes, shooting a minor, even in minor and USPSA, you are less accurate than IDPA, but it's a completely different style of shooting. So
Hmm.
it's not really good to equate it like that. But I don't think 1 second per point down is that a travesty as that people make it out to be. It really isn't.
Right. It's just the mindset, I guess you go into it, right? Like you're like, okay, I got to get my down zeros. I got to watch the dot return to wherever I want it to be and then pull the trigger and then move the gun. But if you move the gun as you're pulling the trigger, you're going to have a down 1 or a down 3. See, I don't know the target enough. Keeps me IDPA adjacent. Although I am the guy who says I'm going to shoot PCC and IDPA, I guess, at some point because I don't want to set up a new rig.
Center is down 0 and it's a circle instead of a rectangle. Down 1 is basically the C zone. Down 3 is a D zone.
Mm-hmm. That rounded part that scares me. Not just
Mm-hmm.
no, but it now when you switch between, like, say you shoot an IDPA match and then a USPSA match back to back or whatever, does it take you a second to get used to? I have less vertical deviation between the USPSA and the IDPA A zones.
I would say early on in shooting both sports, my mind was blown. Like for probably 2 to 3, maybe even 4 years, I would go into a USPSA match and have absolutely horrific hit factors. And I never understood why. Like I didn't understand the math behind the scoring system. I
Mm-hmm.
think I've gotten a lot better. I focus on both speed and accuracy. Smooth movement, great accuracy, and I try to focus on that. I took Tim Herron's class this year, and I will tell you, mentally, that helped me really focus in both sports on the cost of what I'm doing. No matter which point system I'm using, it truly helped me really evaluate a stage and how to approach it and attack it.
Yeah, I took Tim's class twice and I quite enjoyed it, and it's probably changed a lot since I took it back in like 2020, 2021. I like Tim. We can relate. He is shorter than I am, so I feel good about myself.
I can
Uh,
look down on Tim Herron.
that's all that matters, right? Like, I can look down on you.
But
I got
but
to pick.
But seriously, like I took his class and I used my carry optics gun because I was going to carry optics nationals. And the last time I had shot that pistol, which was my Walther steel frame, was last year's carry optics nationals. So other than Tim's class in the previous year's carry optics nationals, walking into this year's carry optics nationals was it. And I improved my place at this year's nationals, which I thought was really competitive, significantly. And I had very few mics, and I really credit his class to my focus. Again, I'm shooting PCC basically almost exclusively for a year and a half, and I jump into Carry Optics Nationals, and I feel I succeeded pretty well.
Mhm. Yeah, well, especially having that that singular mindset of and how to look at stages. Watching you shoot, I don't think you're ever much of a gamer. I mean, like you don't do this stupid plan of I'm going to stand on one pinky toe and hope to shoot these 3 targets around the wall. I mean, the best guy's not going to do that anyway to win. But having good plans and having that visual patience is really nice. And and yes, I will agree. Carry Optics was very stacked these last 2 years in Ohio. I went and watched the Super Squad on Saturday morning. That was a quite interesting thing to watch. Watch them shoot it out. How not so nice they are to each other. Like, Lord have mercy. Like, you want to go and cut tension with a butter knife? It's like,
But
yeah, it was impressively scary. No, but it was cool because Mason Lane shook my hand. I was like, but so you say that you shoot PCC primarily. What do you think? You shoot PCC. What, other than a couple matches that don't allow it, you're pretty much shooting PCC?
right now, I looked at it as my next challenge.
Mhm.
What's funny is people look at PCC in both sports and are like, "Oh, you're bringing a rifle to a pistol sport," and I always make the statement that punching zeros or punching alphas on a target just standing still, super easy. Anybody can do that. But if you want to compete, to me, it takes more athleticism. I have never been as tired and exhausted walking away from matches as I have been with PCC. And that's what really draws me to it. This year's Illinois State, a friend of mine beat me for division champion. He was a CC or a PCC expert. The raw time difference. Now he only had 3 points down, I think, for the match, and I think it was like 8 or 9. But the raw time between him and I was under 3 seconds across 12 stages. And I'm like, that's competition. Like, that's what draws me to competitive sports. It's not some big, $12 trophy, like, woo, yeah, but it's the accomplishment, and it's the competitiveness, and the trying to drive towards a goal.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I am very competitive one with myself, and I want to shoot like the best, which, we never really get to shoot against the best when you shoot staff day, because typically the best shooters don't have anywhere to judge themselves on staff day, because you're just like, I guess I'm making the plan for the whole squad, guys. I hate that. One reason why I will try to shoot with, like for Kentucky, for example, I either want to shoot with King Leif or shoot with Joey. I mean, although Joey does come up with some silly Joey plans, so I will listen to Michael.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to perform your best on staff day. There is absolutely no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, well, and we do it because it's fun. I mean, I go down there with the expectation of hanging with my friends that I don't get to see. I get Ramsey's pie, and we might go to Drake's is the other known quantity. Um, because Ramsey's pie is pretty good. The food's not that great. The pie's good. And you can get sushi at Kentucky Applebee's, essentially. I mean, if you people have never been to a Drake's, I mean, I don't know where they're all at, but what I'm going to call it, Kentucky Applebee's. No, but I don't know. Look, I don't know if even if I'm like, I mean, are you a old man yet? Do you get to claim that you're a senior yet in USPSA?
Not in USPSA, but I checked that box in IDPA 3 years ago.
Okay, so you got 2 more years until you're an old man in USPSA without disclosing your true age.
Yep.
Well, that's okay because you don't look that old. You have some gray in your beard, but you especially. I love the if people didn't watch you on. I don't know if they're Facebook friends with you or not, or if you posted it on Instagram too. But Aaron looks definitely different than I met him a couple years ago. You're like half a dude.
I appreciate that. I lost 30 pounds this year.
Damn, I wish I could lose 30 pounds. I mean, I gained 30 pounds just in the winter because I lay on my couch and watch television. So how have you been able to do it? Is it just weight loss, or is it a mindset, or are you working out all the time?
I've taken type 2 diabetes seriously, honestly. Have a big family history with it. And in the spring of this year, my numbers were just at their highest, and kind of made a plan with the doctor and some drugs, but I drastically changed my diet. As a matter of fact, Joey, we
Mhm.
keep mentioning Joey. He's given me a workout plan that I'm starting to execute, and that's going to really help me get a lot of my strength back and build some more muscle mass. But definitely the diet changed my diet completely.
Yeah. Now, what was your guilty pleasure before you went on this long big diet?
Probably sodas.
Yeah. Is it
Yeah,
completely gone, or do you have like one a week? Or
completely gone.
there you
Yeah,
go.
I'm like milk, water, unsweetened tea, and coffee. That's
So
it since
so
May.
when you try to get unsweetened tea in Kentucky, do you have to specifically say unsweetened tea, or can you just say tea?
You have to say unsweet tea, and you have to taste it, because half the time they give you the sweet tea.
Oh, okay. So all right. Yeah, and I was doing really good. I think I probably have one soda a day now, and it's just been so hard to kick now. It's like I don't know what it is. It's just like it's like habitual sometimes. You like, oh, I want something other than water with dinner, and it's usually a dinner, and it's like, oh, this is really like empty calories. I've been really I'm bad at it too. Like I'll get a snack, like a bag of chips or something out of the vending machine at the office, just because I'm like, I need something to go with my lunch. I didn't bring enough. I'm like, which really I did bring enough food. It's just like it's that habitual like salty snack I want. Lord have mercy. There's like 3.5 servings in the bag, but they're like 200 calories a piece. I'm like, oh God.
You have to be preemptive about that stuff. Like
Yeah.
you have to guarantee and plan for a mid morning snack and an afternoon snack. And for me and my blood sugar and calorie wise, an apple and a couple tablespoons of peanut butter does it perfect.
Yeah.
and it satisfies the sweetness. Peanut butter, you get a little bit of both. It's not too much sugar, and for me, that works. You got to find what works for you.
Yeah. A couple years ago, I don't know, I'd have to look back. Maybe it was during COVID. I was a big on calorie counting until I hit that weight mark that I wanted to be at. And then, oh, I don't need to keep counting calories. And then you do this yo-yo shit, and I absolutely, it worked, but I absolutely hated counting calories because I always felt like, oh, hang on, let me see how many calories I can have, and I'm just like,
Yeah, I'm honestly not counting calories at all. If there's anything I count is how much carbs I have per day. I try to keep it as low as possible, and I try to have as much protein as possible. So I usually have a couple protein shakes during the day
yeah,
to keep my protein levels up.
yeah. They all taste gritty, or do they taste pretty good?
It really depends. For me, I can't take whey protein; kind of goes right through me. Um,
Like
um,
coffee.
yeah, I use typically Orgain. It's a brand of protein. It's a plant-based protein, and you can get it with 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar only. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, that is pretty good. I mean, especially, you get your all your nutrients you need out of it, and get your what you need to be supplement wise to do what you need to do.
Well, what you'll notice is as you take that protein and you get a little bit more protein in your system, you're not as hungry and you're not craving those snacks like you normally are.
Yeah, that's got to be the big thing. My biggest problem, like, well, I guess it's not a biggest problem. I also tried fasting, right? Like the intermittent fasting thing. I know Joey loves it, or for a while he was doing it crazy. Like I ate for 1 hour, but I ate 14,000 calories in an hour. I'm like, bro, I can't do it. Like, I mean, for a while I was doing 21 and threes. So I'd eat for three and 21 fat, but it's just how it kind of worked out when I got done cooking dinner, eating it. And then by the time I got up and got home from work, it's like, all right, when the time I get home from work to the time I decide when dinner is, that's my eating window. But it worked okay, but it wasn't sustainable either. The hard part is like, you really got to change your habits and attitudes to be focused on weight loss.
Yeah, for me, the planned, smaller, many multiple meals works better for me.
Yeah. Yeah, my only biggest problem is that I'm like I cook for the family, so it's like, all right, I got to make sure that there's enough for everybody here, plus leftovers for lunch, and that's always like, it's like, why is there still so much food? And it's like,
Yeah, it's just me and my wife, and I do all the cooking, so she gets all the same stuff that I'm cooking. So
yeah, 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 I that's definitely the one thing I need to try to focus on in 25 is picking better. It's not that I eat like crap; it's just that the be like, no. The problem is, I think all the Tupperware containers are like the really big ones still, and I'm just like, no, we need to go somewhere, get the tinier ones, and
well, and the other thing is I'll be honest with you. Everybody says, "Oh, I don't eat that bad." Start looking at the labels of what you are eating, and
yeah,
it's you will find shocking about the stuff that you are eating and consuming, and do some research on it, and you'll find you're like, wow, I didn't know that was in that, or this type of whatever additives, those kind of things are in there that they're just not good for you.
yeah. I'm definitely at least better off when the fact that I don't buy a bunch of processed packaged food. Just buying a bunch of vegetables and meat, cutting it up, and finding a recipe and letting it go, which my wife likes because she's not much of the cook. I'm the one cooking everything. So, but I actually have like my one thing is like I do like to cook. I don't know what it is. Maybe just growing up, with my family, but that that's something I enjoy doing. Right? Do I hate the fact that it takes me like an hour and a half to cook dinner every night? No, but it's enjoyable. So you're trying to get better and master the PCC and kick everyone's butt with PCC, and then sometimes shoot a pistol. Um, speaking of, so as you said, in the Navy, your main firearm or weapon was a carbine. Well, completely different, coming back to the PCC compared to like the M16 back in the day.
Um, I, yes and no. I mean, to me, there's a familiarity there with the movement of it. to be honest with you. I mean, while I was in combat doing combat operations, I was not a trigger puller.
Hmm.
I was support, so that wasn't my primary job or focus. So we trained with it, deployed with it. That was about the end of it as far as me personally, with a carbine over in Iraq. So, but again, the familiarity moving with it is definitely there. I do. That's what I do like about it.
Yeah. Now, running with the PCC is vastly can be vastly different than, traversing a stage with a pistol because you've got this giant it's like
I can't tell you how many times I finish a stage and I'll look at somebody else in my squad. I'm like, man, I wish I had shot this with a pistol.
right?
Like there's just some stage designs. I mean, and I'm mostly talking USPSA that
Mhm.
it's like I finished. And I was like, damn it, I wish I should have shot LO on this match.
Yeah, well, especially when you've got those long retreat stages and you got to boogie all the way from the front of the stage to the back of the stage with this big rifle. I mean, your Da Vinci and your JP5, they're not the lightest guns, but they're definitely not boat anchors.
Yeah.
But what do you say? They both about 7 pounds, give or take?
Yeah, they're probably between that 5 and 7 pound range. And
Yeah.
I've got a couple others. I actually started with a lead star with a Tacom ultra lightweight barrel.
Mhm.
That was my first PCC that I shot with competitively, and I still have it. And occasionally I'll pull that out and use it. It's kind of fun because it is super light. Uh,
Yeah. They does
but
that like relinquish to steel challenge if you ever shoot it?
yes, exactly. That's exactly what I use it for now.
Yeah. That's I I hate steel challenge. It's just too boring for me. Like I can make it through about 2 stages and I'm like, "Can we be done?"
I just literally just last weekend was telling somebody about Steel Challenge. Me and Steel Challenge are it's an up and down. It's like when I'm going to a whole bunch of majors and I find myself just in war with poppers, and I because I'm not respecting them, I'll focus and I'll start doing my local Steel Challenge matches, and I get them and I get into a rhythm and I focus on steel and I get comfortable with it, but then I get bored with it. So then I walk away from it. And then I'm doing okay with poppers at majors. And then I go to war with them. And then I come back to Steel Challenge. So it's usually this up and down seesaw with me during a match here with Steel Challenge. Because I can't, I honestly, I'm like that. It's too boring for me constantly. But it's something that I can admit that I don't give enough respect to, that I do need it to
Mhm.
focus sometimes.
Now I wish steel challenge events were like this. You have certain start times, you can start at different times. You and a buddy or you and 3 people go out, you shoot the stage, you move on, right? Not these full squads of people. It's like super quick, one gun apiece. Bang, you do your thing and you move on. Like you can turn and burn it in probably like an hour if you did it that way. But for me, be it steel challenge all day long, I'm just like,
So
no
more like
fucking
sporting clays.
yes. I mean, it really should be like that. Steel challenge should be like sporting clays and be like, you send them out with a tablet and a timer and be like, you come back together with this tablet and timer. I mean, I guess there's an integrity thing. I mean, you're only going to be as honest as people have to make you be, I guess. If you really want to cheat that bad with only 2 people on the tablet and timer, I mean, it's going to show because then you go to a major and you're going to get your ass kicked. But no, I would shoot steel challenge if it was like, all right, I showed up, I'm going to go shoot these things real quick, and then I'm going to come back and be done. But that's the best thing. That's why old people shoot this thing because they don't have to go pace. They send one guy down there to go paint all 5 targets, and it's like, cool, I can keep sitting here for another hour. But yeah, oh, where was I going? Oh, PCC. That's right. So how is the JP5 doing? Because I know you just kind of got that.
I really love it, and it's not that I dislike my Da Vinci's. It's just a different style of rifle. I now have two Da Vinci. I have two Da Vinci's and the JP5, but I'm really liking the JP5. I
It,
really am.
does that have a side charger, but it like folds up?
So it you can get them with that, but and so that kind of was going to be my plan for next year. Is that the IDP matches? I'll probably use the Da Vinci because that has the side charging handle, and you have a chance of a downloaded start or a reload, or you might have that need for that side charging handle. USPSA, most folks that I talk to you just don't need that side charging handle for USPSA. And I got my JP5 from Shooters Connection because they were in stock and it was available, and I wasn't
Mhm.
going to have to order it and wait for 6 to 8 weeks or 10 weeks to have it built. And I wanted it after I shot one. I'm like, I just want it. What do you got? And Shooters had it, so I went with what they had, which is just the basic rifle, not the side charging JP5.
Mhm. Yeah, it seems like you'd be shooting it pretty well. I don't know. I don't know if I was talking to you. It might have been Mike Barrera because, like I said, I'm too lazy to set up an IDPA rig, or I've got to find a gun of mine that actually is probably IDPA legal if it was a pistol. Like I think all of them weigh too much or something. So I'm just like, I asked Mikey, what do I got to do for a PCC and IDPA? And he's like, just make 135 power factor. I'm like, oh, that's not hard.
Two things, literally two things. 135 power factor and mag pouch has to be behind the hip bone.
Yep.
That's it. Other than that, I mean, technically, yeah, you're only allowed 2 mag pouches in IDPA PCC, and max loadout is 30 rounds, but you can still use as big as mag as you want. Just you can only put 30 rounds in it. So,
Yeah,
but it's
but
only
you
18
only
round
only got
thing.
to shoot 18, so I can spray.
Exactly.
Now, so back in the day, probably before even you started shooting IDPA, you had subjective cover calls, and now they've got fault lines. Um, is it more about hitting your spot, or like is it about quick movements from spot to spot? Like, because I don't seem like from each video I see about IDPA, I don't see much shooting on the move.
Yeah, it rarely can you truly shoot on the move like you're used to in USPSA, where you have a completely wide open target,
Mhm.
because the thought process is you should be shooting from cover. So therefore a target is going to be tucked within a wall where you have to be behind cover.
Mhm.
So those opportunities where something's on the move, not really going to be there, or if you do, it's going to be like one target.
Mhm.
It's not going to be that much. But I will tell you, to be good at IDPA, it is about efficiency of movement and a stage plan. Most people that struggle with IDPA don't respect that enough. They just look at it as, oh, this course of fire is telling me to go from here to here to here to here. Okay, I'm ready to go. And they're not really looking at that efficiency of movement, because it's fractions of seconds that are making a difference. Yeah, you got from the master at the top and the novice in the bottom, huge swing. But if you want to be that competitive expert or that competitive master, fractions of seconds are what is going to separate you. Like Tim Herron, like, see, that's a perfect example. Like Tim Herron talks about in his class, 1 foot, one movement of your foot, he says, will cost you 1 second. Well, you can watch an IDPA match and see people shuffle all the time. They're moving their body, they're angling. They didn't plan all of that movement ahead of time, where now they're shuffling their feet. And it's like, there's a second, there's a second, there's a second, there's a second. And it just eats them up.
Oh yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, and people don't realize. I think it's probably 3/4 to 1.5 seconds of just dead time of just doing that stupid crap, and you're not shooting. You're not scoring any points, right? Like a lot of people, some people talk about in our sports as time is it's not necessarily time divided by points. It's all about about time, because all that time equals points. Like fast. Well, I will say your points per second. I mean, the time really does matter in IDPA, but you also still have to be very accurate, because you can't be eating down ones and down threes all day, or you get eaten up pretty quick at whatever level you're at. Like if you're competing in that
Yeah,
master
in
category.
IDPA, you cannot shoot fast enough to make up those points. You literally cannot.
Mhm. Thank you for checking out another episode of Manny Talks Shooting. I greatly appreciate it. And if you could do me a favor, please go patronize our partners when you are available. We have always, as the title sponsor, D2 Custom Guns. We've got Outdoor Dynamics, Make Stuff Better, 2 Alpha Apparel, Range Panda, Laugh and Load, Hunter's HD Gold, and Southern Bobby Q. Now, thank you. Let's get on with this episode. Yeah, it's not like USPSA where, oh, I went 4 seconds faster than you and I had a mic and I still won the stage.
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah, there's that level where, spending more time to get something better, it's just actually going to be detrimental, not helpful.
Hmm. Yeah, I can see that. Darn you, Aaron! You cursed me with my coughs now. I don't know what you did. Probably because you talked about it's going to get cold down there. I laugh at you, which I'm very jealous. Actually, I'll speak of this. I'm very jealous that you get actually pretty much shoot at Bluegrass all year round?
Yeah, strangely enough, typically the match or series of matches that get canceled the most are the March matches.
Due to rain?
Snow, snow and ice. We normally, it's about every 3 to 4 years. You will have an early snow where we're talking like 2 to 3 feet in a January, December timeframe. But typically, it doesn't get really cold, and the ice come in, which really is what shuts down the range. Is the ice, not snow. If it's just snow, we'll shoot, no
Mhm.
problem at all. But the ice will kill us, and it's usually the March match. Yep.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have think it'd been the March match, but
Yep.
yeah, I shot a March match up here. It was warm enough ish to shoot a March match, and let's just say it was not worth it. My digits were cold. I finally got myself. Hang on, let me grab this because we have a Blaine's nearby. Got myself one of those like hand pouches things. I'm like, my fingers aren't gonna get cold again. But
I got some of those rechargeable hand warmers on Cyber Monday.
smart too. I definitely need this. Like I'd always have like when these cold matches, I'm like, okay, I got my jersey shirt or like the shirt I'm wearing, like that's tucked into my pants and tucked into my belt, right? Then you got like the hoodie or like the overcoat, or it's the hoodie and then the coat, and I'm like, I still got to pull all this crap off to shoot. And I'm just like, oh, I can clip and it's usually just the pockets I want. Like as soon as you start moving and pasting, that's where
Another reason to shoot PCC. You can just shoot with all that stuff on.
that and glovies.
Hmm.
Yeah, why don't you? That's what you need. Heated gloves. Just that like hook up. They just are heated little gloves, and they keep your hands warm.
Typically, 42 degrees is my cutoff for shorts.
You Kentuckians. I wish we could wear shorts, but I mean, last year and this year seem to be so far. I'll knock on my desk because it's wood. Um, sorry, audio listeners, you're gonna have to listen to me bang around on my desk because I want good luck. We've had really mild winters, which means it's gotten warmer a little bit or less shitty in March and whatnot. It's almost kind of like crappy Kentucky where it's like not really warm, but it's nice enough. And like you guys who it's warm enough and nice enough.
Let me be clear. I'm not from Kentucky.
Yeah.
They don't have winter here.
Yeah.
This isn't winter.
No, it's not. And I want not
I,
winter.
I moved into this house in January of 2014, and I think that year we got like 2.5, maybe 3 inches of snow. And it was like a powder snow, and we were still unboxing stuff, and I was out in my driveway in a hoodie, sweatshirt, jeans, and some Merrells, and I had a push broom, and I was brooming my driveway. And the next door neighbor had this big parka. He had a big scoop shovel and this big beanie and these big mittens, and he's like, Aaron, man, it's horrible. And I'm like, what? He's like, you moved here and this big snowstorm came in.
The snowstorm.
And I'm like, I've got a broom, dude. This ain't snow. This ain't nothing.
Where'd you move from? Where'd you come from then before you moved to Kentucky?
Well, that's funny too. I moved from Tampa, Florida to Lexington, Kentucky, but I'm originally from Joliet, Illinois.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I grew up
South
in
Chicago.
50 miles south of Chicago. Right, 19 years old, joined the Navy, and basically never went back. But yeah, that's where I grew up was Illinois. Now, for a while, I was stationed in Maryland, which they get hammered with snow in the wintertime as well. But most of my snow experience was in Illinois.
Yeah, go shovel off the stoop, Aaron, right?
That's real snow.
Oh yeah. Like yeah, you get this lake effect shit like I message and be mean to my friends in North Carolina, like it got to be 40 degrees today. I'm like, yeah, screw you. It's like 10. It feels like -10, and it's got snow on the ground. It sucks.
Yeah, I mean, this last weekend I was down at Sheepdog in Valdosta, Georgia, and there was all these Florida folks that were just crying their eyes out because it was 48 degrees in the morning, and I'm in shorts, and I'm like, I'm already taking my sweatshirt off. I'm like, I'm hot. Like this is nothing. I'm like, and they're all bundled up. I'm like, yeah, no.
It's because they have poor circulation, Aaron. And that's a lot of people's problem too. They have poor circulation and they can't keep their body, like their extremities warm. I mean, I'm one of them. My feet, like my wife's really bad. Like if her feet or her hands get cold, she's like, I'm cold for like 3 days. I'm like, honey, stop saying that you're cold. I know you are, but stop it. I'm not tired of hearing it.
Well, as I've lost the weight, I've realized I have to layer up just a little bit more on my chest because of that. I don't have that extra layer of heating.
Yes, the heat pad, and the lovely the body made insulation. Mm. So, so you said, damn it, now I lost my train of thought, but it's okay. I'm just gonna keep rambling until my next question comes out. That's usually how it goes. Um, so you said your challenge is PCC and want to be really good. Going into 25, what's your top goal for 25?
I don't know if I want to say it, man. I'd really like to make master in PCC and USPSA. It's what I'd really like. I just made A early this year. I should have made it at the end of last year, but I missed last year's PCC Nationals because I literally went to Talladega and
Oh yeah,
I got COVID.
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Oh,
we were
it's
talking about
horrible.
that.
I was stuck in a hotel for 3 days just getting, healthy enough to drive back to Kentucky. It was absolutely horrible.
No, for your
Um,
car to drive back to Kentucky.
well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, so as a result, I didn't make A until I think March. I think it was after South Carolina section is when I got A this year. Um, but yeah, that's my goal for next year.
Yeah, that's a good goal. I mean, my goal, I would love to by the end of 25 be at a USPSA Open Master. I mean, both of those divisions take speed. You got to be like these carry optics guys who are like, oh man, like even like I can compare them on hit factors, like on a classifier. I'm like, okay, my hit factor was better than yours. My points are better than yours, but my classification percentage is lower because I have to go that much faster. This is bull crap. I mean, just with like PCC, you don't have to do the reloads. You don't have to do the shoulder. You barely have to do a hand change nowadays. I mean, unless you're the weird sadist club that wants to do strong hand, weak hand stuff all the time. Which you gotta turn and burn them. It's like, yeah, as you said, you're just bad at classifiers. I mean, like that's a lot of people. Like it's either a gun handling oopsie or it's like a mental thing of like they psych themselves out. I mean, that's what I see a lot of up here. People come and shoot these. They come into these big expectations on these, like they shoot a classifier match. They come in with these big expectations. They dive bomb and it's horrible. And it's like, just shoot it like a stage. You listen to the WSB, you do what it says, and you'll do fine. When you're trying to game half of it, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think honestly that's probably most of my problems. I do overthink it,
Mm-hmm.
and that creates that hesitation. You can see it in some of my videos.
Yeah. Do you find that do you actually go back and like review your videos and look for those little bits, or or is it more of a thing of just taking them for fun at this point?
No, absolutely. I am my absolute worst critic after the match. I try to keep everything positive on the range during the match, and not focus on anything negative whatsoever. Try to keep it all positive, but definitely I analyze my matches with the video afterwards, and I have this like weird ability to just close my eyes and I can talk you through probably 90% of this year's matches, which is 19 matches this year. I can probably talk you through almost all of my stages. There's some that just weren't memorable to me and I don't remember all of the designs and I might get, okay, it was in this match, not this match, but I can recall all of those matches. And that's again to me what has drawn me especially to USPSA is that puzzle aspect of tearing down a stage mentally, and then trying to attack it, and perform, and I think it really sticks with me afterwards.
Yeah, it definitely does. I feel that they're a little more memorable. I mean, one, I've never shot an IDPA match, but usually you get people posting about it all weekend long or for 3 weeks. They just talk about the one match, and it helps you remember it. And we shoot really good matches around here. I mean, I don't think there's been too many bad major matches in the past couple of years. Like, I mean, unless there's like an absolute turd bomb, it's usually because you have a bad squad or something. It's usually because I'm not on your squad. If you have a bad squad, it's because I'm not there to tell everyone to start pasting. God, I hate people who don't paste. That's like the biggest problem. But no, yeah, I don't know. It seems, I don't know. I've not shot IDPA, so I can't speak to that. There's not as big of a puzzle, but with the form of freestyle is pick your adventure, right? Sure, if you want to start all the way in the front, I mean, I might call you Leif Kunkel at that point, But you can do it, but it might not be the best plan, but it might be your plan. I mean,
Yeah, I tend to equate shooting, but I'd say especially USPSA with golf,
Oh yes, it is definitely the golf, the gun golf. Yes.
because you can attack it and go for your strengths, or try to mitigate your weaknesses as you attack golf course or stage,
Hmm.
and try to emphasize those pieces. I was a big golfer.
Yeah. I don't see any golf clubs in the background. I see a bike and
So
a whole
so
bunch of Christmas crap.
so for me, I either do it and I'm all in,
Hmm.
or I kind of don't do it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, like this is
Uh,
the longest hobby I've had, and I've had this like since 2019, 2020. Like I haven't found a more satisfying hobby. But also there's so many rabbit holes and avenues to keep going down. Like I'm just gonna shoot this local match. This one I'm gonna you find out, oh, this one club I really like. I'm gonna shoot this one local match. There's more clubs close to me, and then you find them, and they're like, I'm gonna go next weekend to this match. And then you're like, you mean there's a bigger match I can go to? Oh, I'll go to, and then oh, I can go be an RO and work these matches. It's like down the rabbit hole it goes. Like,
well, you know how many matches that I shoot. When I golfed, I was big into golf when I was stationed in Hawaii, and I golfed every weekend. I was shooting golf in during the week. I was playing 9 holes midweek. I was playing 18 holes in the morning, 18 holes in the afternoon, and then on a Saturday and on a Sunday. There were many weekends for an entire month where I was playing 4 rounds of golf every single weekend.
well, I mean, there's nothing to do on the islands of Hawaii other than fish.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I didn't know there are gun ranges though on Hawaii. I
There
think
is.
there's like one USPSA club, but
Yeah, they're really bad because they got 10-round limits.
ugh. I mean, which is fine. They can shoot L10 optics now. Right? But I guess we'll talk about this match because we were both at it. It was kind of memorable. The Bluegrass Championship this year. I'll call it a major. I worked my ass for 2 days on a stage, and I'll call it a major. What did you think of that match overall?
Well, I mean, it's a Leif match, so come on. It's always challenging. I think they're always dynamic, and and he always throws in, that long stage where you're gonna be moving, and you better be moving pretty damn fast, otherwise you're gonna have a pretty low hit factor on it.
Yeah, you're gonna be
So
sucking wind on like the pit stage that they had. Oh my
I
lord.
just I call them the Joey and Michael stages, but
Oh
yes,
yeah, yeah. The young guys.
the
It
young guys.
what they really should call it the good knees squad. Joey, Michael, and Ramen salami guys. Like, I'm glad that Ramin actually isn't like a pansy about it when I call him to him like, "Sup, Ramen? Oh hi." I wish he got out more. I just never see enough of Ramin. But let's see, and now I'm stuck. I got to go into there and see how did Aaron finish in PCC. There you go. You came in what, third A, ninth overall in PCC. That's not a bad finish, especially for that match. This match, I don't know if it seemed a little harder than usual though. But I've only shot that was my second Kentucky match. So
Really?
mm-hmm. Yeah, the year before, none of my Michigan friends actually showed up to work the match with me. They're all like, "Oh, we can't go." I'm like, "Oh, screw you guys. I guess I'm still going." Did you shoot that clean? No, you did not shoot that clean. Did I shoot that clean? I can't remember. I won my class, yet I still don't know if I shot it clean or not.
Did you shoot Michigan section this year?
Yeah, we both shot on Friday.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Because I'm like, are you? I think I even messaged you before the match. Are you working this match? No,
Yeah.
I have Hoosier Daddy.
Yep. I shot the Michigan section and then went down and shot Who's Your Daddy.
Yeah, it's a bummer because the Michigan section and Hoosier Daddy are on the same weekend again.
Hmm. But Who's Your Daddy is 2 days this year. They're doing a Saturday or Sunday.
Oh, that's nice.
Hmm.
So you can so staff shoots Friday, I'm assuming.
Yes.
So Friday and then Saturday, Sunday, which is nice because that means if it's a 10-stage IDPA major, that means you can have 12 more, 120 more bodies in the match.
Hmm.
And from what I hear around, it's the Great Lakes Championship. I think it's the Great Lakes Championship is a really good match, and then the Hoosier Daddy's a good match.
Yep.
Because one, I think I don't know. You have to tell me if I'm wrong, or is it Tri County? I don't know. It's one of those that had like a boat like the pirate ship this year, or was it maybe last year?
Yeah, I've never shot Tri-County, but it usually hear really good things from that. Great Lakes Regional, I shot that for many, many, many years in a row. Michigan State IDPA match, I used to shoot quite a bit, and I shot Who's Your Daddy a number of times.
Yeah, I mean to keep trying to go, but now it's on the weekend of my, the Michigan section in my home club match. I'm like, oh man, this sucks. I can't go to this. Maybe in 25, maybe in 26. Kind of hard to tell. Yeah, Chris, like, yeah, I'm not going to work the match. I'm going to go shoot an IDPA match. Although I'd see my friend Sin down there.
I shot a number of matches with her this year. She talked me into squadding with her, and I think we probably shot 4 or 5 matches this year together.
Yeah. Does it help? Does it help definitely being more of a squad of PCC shooters than being like the lone PCC guy?
Sometimes it does. You can see a little bit more vision in the stage plans. Um, I've had some phenomenal times shooting with Jason Clark and Corey Shield.
Mm-hmm.
And, sharing stage plans with them, and it's been hilarious because little old me has given, especially Corey to me. He's like, this year he was like, man, I'll shoot you with you anytime. He's coming up to me asking for stage plans, and he's the 1 minute winning the damn match, and I'm like, that's pretty humbling for me. And I just really like shooting with him and Jason especially.
Mm-hmm.
But it does help.
Yeah. It definitely, I could see that. Yeah. Especially, as I talked like on, staff day, you're kind of like shooting it alone in the dark most of the time. And you're like, I don't know if that was the right plan, but that was my plan. Like, for example, stage 2 at Bluegrass, where you started in the middle and the swinger like the swinger, it's like the 2 steel that you can dance for. And then the swinger in the middle. There's a lot of different ways of doing that. But, do you remember how you shot that one?
I don't.
What the heck, hey, Ron? You said you could do it. No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
That was an interesting stage. There was a lot of different debate on that stage, at least on my squad. They're like, well, do I stand here and shoot all of it right now, or do you get the swinger going? Because the swinger was pretty fast on release.
You're gonna make me go back and look at my video now. I'm interested to how I did shoot that, because I'm remembering the stage, because I remember it's either activate or move and coming across and come back.
Yeah, I think I ended up shooting the activator, shoot the other steel, and then I went to the left, then shot that going up all the way to the front, shooting, and you had to stop like 3/4 because there was a steel you had to shoot from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ran back to the middle, shot the swinger, looked at it like a million times, and then I was like, I guess I can go now. But that was not that was the stage I worked, and I disliked working that stage. It was such a much of a retreat stage. There could have been so much of, like, audio listeners, you can't see me muzzling myself with my finger, like with like my fake gun. There could have been so much of this or so much of this as they run with their choppy arm. Oh my lord! Do you remember the whole PCC squad guys? Like all the old guys shooting PCC.
Yes.
They suckered one kid into shooting like limited or something with them, and I'm like, oh my lord, you guys are torturing him. And I'm like, God, if you ever tell me my make ready is going to be this long, and not that they're that competitive or that good, their make readies were forever. Do you feel that? Do IDPA people? No, I'm sorry, not IDPA. Do PCC shooters have that long of a make ready normally? Is this a normal thing?
I think it's not just about PCC. It's just some people just take forever. But on the flip side, one of my recent videos you can watch on my YouTube channel, shameless plug, at Sportsman's Rod and Gun indoor match. I was so excited. I was getting up there to shoot this. I was like, okay, I'm ready. Forgot to turn my dot on. You can see me turn the dot on the clock, and I'm like, what the hell were you doing?
Yeah.
Right. And that's a perfect example of, if I would have taken a nice little sight picture, I would immediately see, but no. I'm ready. I'm good to go.
Yeah. Well, that's also a problem with indoor matches too. Like it never seems like there's enough bodies to take like the timers and stuff and the tablets. I know it's like the safe table. Like you're like, oh, you got to go stand get ready at a safe table, or for your IDP, for your PCC, you got to unbag it at the wall essentially. Like, or it's like, oh, don't unbag. I don't know. There's so many places that are also weird. Just like unbag at the line. I'm like, you know how much longer that takes to unbag at the line? when my bag is just stand at the cart. My cart can just point at the side berm, and I can go pull it out.
Yeah, that would take forever.
Yeah. Oh well, my first ever match I ever shot was we had one PCC guy. They made him unbag and unzip at the line, and then before range was clear to go paste, they made him put his PCC back in the bag and zip it all the way up. I'm like,
That that's kind of a sticking point for me for some IDPA matches, and it's just like in USPSA, there are some people that are just hardcore against PCC, and unfortunately, I have run into some SOs at stages in IDPA matches that are so anti PCC. They're like, "Okay, you're going to unbag over there, and when you're done shooting, the SO is going to escort you back to your bag so you can zip your bag." I'm like, "No, we're not doing that." So,
because I'm assuming it's pretty much like USPSA rules: muzzle up or muzzle down, and just
it is, but strangely enough, USPSA has much more detailed rules about unbagging. IDPA really doesn't have any kind of standardized unbagging requirements.
right.
They leave it up to the range, which again can be pretty chaotic personally. So my IDPA club that I run at BGSL, I basically use USPSA rules for bagging and unbagging PCC.
Yeah, that makes more sense, especially when you know what it is. 3 or 6 feet from the berm. Pull your
Yep.
fucking gun out of your bag. Check your dot. Well, no, don't check your dot when you unbag the gun. Go to the safe table. I can't remember if they changed the rule on that. They changed the rules so damn often I can't remember half the shit.
I think you can now.
Yeah, I think that was in last year's rule audit. You could mess with your dot and fix your stock. Just it's just so it's the people.
I do.
Yeah.
I hope it's legal.
Yeah. Hey, as long as you don't get caught, it's not a problem, right? Yeah, like I'm hoping I'll fake knock on wood. I'm really hoping I can get find a dot I like and put it on my PCC and actually go shoot my PCC this year. I told when Ryan Rocks was on the calendar for the end of June, I told Corey, we're gonna shoot Ryan Rocks. I'm gonna beat you with a PCC that I barely have shot. And he's like, no, you're not. I'm like, well, yeah, I am. You're gonna shoot it with me. He's like, and then like canceled, or I don't know what they're doing. But I want to shoot a major with my PCC just because it's cool.
I have come to really like the 507 comp, the Hollow Sun 507 comp,
Mm-hmm.
and I now have one of my Da Vinci's and my JP5. That's the optic I have on it, with a nice tall riser on it.
Do you find that you need to have a 45-degree offset dot?
So in IDPA, I find it much more useful. I would say I don't know that I have ever used it in USPSA.
Right, because at that point just lean out. But with the walls so tight, I think in IDPA for targets, it probably makes more sense to have the 45 to just roll it over.
Yeah. Now, and the interesting part is I've used my laser more in USPSA than I have ever done it in IDPA.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did used to shoot in Livingston at the Ryan Rocks match in the Dark House. It's like, oh, the one time a year that this fucking laser is worthwhile.
Well, for me, I know it's my superior height, but going through a lot of ports, and on low targets, the laser's invaluable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, now I wish more clubs did this and just did the vertical walls with the big old slant port, like the big old up and down port. The Nils Jonasons can shoot out of it, the Sins can shoot out of it, and then the middle people they can shoot out of it. No need for no silly box to stand on.
I want to say it was like Georgia section a couple of years ago. I think that's where it was. There was a port that I'm not kidding you. It was here. Like I had to take the rifle and just hold it like this to shoot through the port. I mean, it was ridiculous. But thankfully I had my laser. So
Right. The one time now, I'm assuming it's a green laser because red lasers aren't as cool.
Yep.
Well, and it's probably just because the green's easier to see.
I always go with a red dot and green laser.
Yep. So then you can never get confused.
Like Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't thought about putting a laser on my PCC, but it's also because I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll probably put one on there. I'm going to really use my PCC when I get it up and running, I'll probably shoot some PCSL 2 gun. Because I found out you can shoot in competition, you can shoot, whatever your competition handgun you want it to be in, and you can shoot a PCC and competition division. So I'm like, I don't have to have a real rifle. Okay.
Fun fact though, if you put a flashlight on it, make sure you check it out.
Yeah, don't forget to check your flashlight out. Don't buy the Walmart flashlight, or is it the Amazon?
Amazon.
Lord Jeff Bezos, send me a good flashlight. that was actually a really entertaining. I watched that whole thing, and that was like, that's the one thing I don't like about Facebook. It's like it'll just keep jumping to the next video after the first one's played, and I'm like, but I wanted to watch that one again.
You can find them all on my YouTube channel.
I mean, this is at least you have a YouTube channel for people to watch your stage videos. Like, that's like one of the cool. Like, the one thing is like, there's the people who do it to try to get better and they take video, and then there's the guys who just want to like document it and put it on the internet, which is cool too. So you can see it of all different kinds of levels.
Yeah, it's been amazing. There's been a few matches where I've had people come up to me and say, "Hey, I just so you know, Aaron, like," or it's like, "Hey, are you Aaron, the one with the YouTube channel?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, who are you?" And they're like, "I've seen all your videos. Like, I was getting into competitive shooting. I didn't know what Steel Challenge or USPSA or IDPA was, and I saw all your videos, and it was really cool." And that's really cool. Like I am not putting all my videos on YouTube because I think I'm all that. That's
Mhm.
not what it's about. It's really about two things: getting the word out about shooting, and people getting interested in it and getting involved in it, and the people that do sponsor me. Um,
Yeah.
it's not about me.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, one, this probably does fulfill my ego just slightly doing this, but I mean, I do it. I do it to interact with people. Like, you don't know how many random people come up to me. Yes, I do a podcast every week, but people are like, man, I love your show. Like, and they're talking to me like they know me. I'm like, I don't even know who you are, but thank you. I appreciate them talking to me, but I'm like, I'm really good with faces, not so much with names. Like I can't pick somebody off unless I really know you and know your name. I can't pick you out of a roster of like, oh, I know who that guy is. But faces where I get it. Especially if you piss me off and I'm your RO, and I will remember a face for probably about a good 90 seconds.
Well, I mean, it's just another bit of camaraderie and a social experience. It really is. Like, how many of us are doing this for some prize money or big prize things, or we get something out of it? That's the other thing that I'm very honest when I'm approached by people that are just starting it. I'm like, if you think you're going to make some money doing this, it's not. It's a losing battle. You're going to spend more money on this than you spend on it just about anything else. But it's a great community. People are always willing to help you, both on the range, off the range, personally, professionally. I've met so many people, and that's what really keeps me involved in it. Both IDPA and USPSA, they've had their ups and downs as sports, but it's the people. It's the people that draw me to be a match director, to be a major match director, to be a CRO and USPSA, a CSO, a state coordinator, and IDPA. I, you
Mhm.
know, I don't do it for any gain whatsoever because it's a losing battle.
Oh yeah,
But I do it for involvement with people.
yeah, you're never unless you're like the one of the 6 people who actually get paid to do this sport.
Yeah.
Like you ain't making money on this. Well, that's not true. My buddy at D2 Custom Guns, Dan, he goes to any major match and someone's handing him a freaking envelope full of $100 bills, and it's like, this is the only motherfucker who's gonna actually get rich doing this shit. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you just got handed like thousands of dollars in a fucking envelope. He's like, what? He's like, oh yeah, I do make money on this sport. But Dan's one of those salty the earth people. Yeah, unless you're in this, do it like you're a builder. You make gun, you manufacture firearms. You've got really good products like Double Alpha. You ain't making any money shooting the sport. But hey, everything's a tax write off at that point. But yeah, I mean, we do it for the people. It's nice. I don't know how many times you also go to a major match and someone tells you, hey, thanks for getting me into this sport, or it's always those cool things too, right? Like y- even your little bad day on the range makes somebody's day on the internet to be like, oh, that was a cool match. I wish I won to that one.
Well, when I hear people talk about, well, I'd shoot, but there's not a club, with like an hour of me.
Mhm.
Like really? Like where I did my RO class?
Oh, that's
Michigan,
right. We were
Michigan.
there. Yeah, you went and hung out with me at Raccoon Hunters
I'm like, in Michigan. I drove to Michigan to get my RO
in
class.
February, by the
Yes, yes.
There was like 50 people in that
Yep.
class.
And I mean, I shoot locals, both IDPA, USPSA, that are 2-3 hours away. I'm like,
Yeah. My
I,
cutoff normally is like hour and a half on normal. And like if it's a push, like it's a once a year trip, yeah, I'll go 2-3 hours for a local, but that's more for the people, not for the quality of the stages. Yeah. There was a lot of actually people from Kentucky, I think in that class who went to that RO class back in beginning of 2021. That was my first experience ever meeting Roy Neal, by the way. I had to call him up for some reason, like 2 days prior, or 3 days, and you never met until you've met a cat like Roy Neal. You have not met a cat. He will talk your ear. I mean, a lot of people in the sport will talk your ear off. That's for sure. But Roy, as soon as he keeps talking, just learn to walk. He's just like one of my coworkers. He'll start telling a story, and you're like, I really gotta go do something. And then you're just like, I just walk away, or they take a breath and I'm gone. But no, and I'm glad. I don't know about you. I'm glad I took the RO class, become an RO, and actually work matches. There's I think a whole nother level of respect for shooters in this sport who actually do that, because you really get the short end of the stick on the stage plans. You're there all there working the weekend, and you usually work the stage that you failed the most at. Is it just how it seems like it is?
yeah, for me, I started out mostly heavy on IDPA, and somebody pulled me aside. They're like, if you want to learn about the sport, learn about the rules, and then get to watch shooters up close and personal and see the little things that they're doing that can help you out, become a safety officer. And that's why I do it. And that's what I tell other people about it. Like you get a viewpoint that no one else will get. That person, they may be able to do their stage plan and do their little walkthrough, but ultimately they're going to do the stage once. That's it.
Yep.
You, of course, it's after you've already shot it, but that doesn't mean the lessons learned and the little tidbits and little pieces of knowledge that you can grasp and then apply at your next match. You're going to get 200 or 300 of those, and it's just an invaluable experience. Like, and I actually just this last weekend I told somebody about that. Like, I can teach you how to run a timer, and I can teach you range commands, but you can't teach somebody what another person will do with a firearm once that beep goes off. Like, reading body language and seeing it in their movements, you just have to experience it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. But you only get it by doing it. You can't get it by watching it.
Right. Yeah. And no one's ever perfect. I mean, there's plenty
Mhm.
of times I've interfered with a shooter and I'm like, stop, unload, show clear. Like you just know it. Like you looked at you moved to the wrong spot. We're right where they're gonna. I'm like, yep, I already know you hesitated. Like, let's unload this. Let's start you over. And
Yep.
and it's okay to make mistakes. I've made bad calls, and I've owned them, but it's a learning experience. I I feel that there's no people shouldn't have a worry about making a mistake when being an RO. We're human. We're not robots. Go out and
Absolutely.
volunteer, right? We always need more people to volunteer for these matches. Like I know probably at BGSL, Bluegrass Sports. Yeah, yeah, there we go. I said the acronym right. I mean, we always could use more people to go work the Kentucky Bluegrass match. We could definitely, they definitely need a hand with setup. I mean, what 2024 this year? What 4 of you?
Yeah.
Maybe 5 set up the whole match in a couple days.
I mean, you can look at it across the board. Everything we do needs more people involved in it, right?
Yep.
It can be from running the match, it could be from running the club, it could be to maintaining the club, right? Everything from range cleanup days to building props, or the actual match management, like all of it. Like I was a BGSL member for many years before I got into the club management. I've been a board member now for 5 years.
Hmm.
That's big club. That's not even within our pistol club. Again, if nobody steps up and does it, it goes away, right? And you can have an opinion, but unless you're involved in the process, you're just noise.
Yeah, exactly. Another reason I'm on my own gun club's board. Over at Oak Hill, I'm on the board now. I think it's just because they wanted somebody to do some technology things for them, but It's not too bad. But yeah, dealing with interpolitic. I mean, luckily enough, that club is so low key and low politics and low drama. It's nice, but it's also someone's got to do it, or no one's going to be there to do it. And then guess what? Everybody, all the old guys die, and then you got nothing.
You talking about me?
No, you're not
Old
old.
guy?
Don't think that you're old. You're not old. You're 40 something. Just keep telling yourself that
Thank you. I like that.
until you wake up in the morning. You're like, oh, my back is so stiff. You probably got one of them fancy auto adjust beds too, don't you? He's laughing because he knows I've assumed it correctly. I wish I had one of those though. Doesn't matter what it always seems like no matter what mattress or bed I get, it's never right. It's either too soft or it's way too firm, and it's like, oh great, I got to live with this thing for a while. But it's okay. So, Aaron, other than I will see you in Kentucky, where else are you playing? How many other matches are you going to shoot in 2025?
Right now, trying to go to IPSC Nationals, Buckeye Blast, Area 5, Michigan Sectional. I'm already signed up for Alabama State, USPSA. That Georgia Peach, that new match down at Riverbend,
Mm-hmm.
signed up for that. Um, Depending on dates for Indiana, Tennessee section, I liked both of those this year. First time shooting this year at Riley. I hadn't shot there before, so I'll probably go back there. And this year was also first time shooting Tennessee section, so I'll probably
Mm-hmm.
go back there. I love going to new places and new ranges. It's kind of fun seeing new different clubs, not necessarily new clubs, but different for me.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think, possibly handgun nats. We'll see. I'd really like to go to PCC Open Nats, but I'm not sure if I can make it all the way to Utah.
Yeah, as soon as I heard that, I was like, I told myself I was going to go in 24. My sister got married, screwed all my vacation time up. I was like, all right, I'm going in 25. And I'm like, I am not going to Utah. Nope.
Yeah. Some IDPA matches, of course. Probably Who's Your Daddy. I'm already signed up for a South Florida Defensive Challenge. I'm on a PCC only squad.
Oh,
Um,
so they can read the PCC brief instead of having to read both.
down in Homestead, Florida. Actually, we have John Paul, JP, there on our squad. He's shooting with us,
Oh, there you go.
so that'll be an adventure.
Are there any Da
Um,
Vinci's on the squad?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm the AMD for one of the Colorado matches, the Third Rock Regional, Colorado State and Rocky Mountain Regional out in Grand Junction. I did that this year. Actually, this year was an adventure for me. I bought my Tesla and drove all the way to Grand Junction from Kentucky and back.
On how many charges?
It was about 4. But so what I did was I left Lexington, went down to Alabama and shot with staff the Alabama State, and then drove out to Grand Junction. 2 IDPA matches and drove all the way back. 3,723 miles.
Brand new.
Brand spanking new. I bought that car in March of this year and I just hit 22,000 miles.
Means you don't have to go to work very far. AKA from home.
So probably more IDP or more USPSA matches next year than IDPA is right now with the plan.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's always part of the adventure in the mix. I mean, it always seems like these USPSA matches are a little more better attended than IDPA, just depending on the region, I guess. What you can get people to draw into. So that's good. It's good to see that. I mean, we're going to be seeing each other a bunch. Yeah, because we're all pretty much at all the same matches. I'll be coming down to Kentucky, your neck of the woods. You're coming up to Michigan to at least shoot that one. So it's always a good time. I guess before we kind of wrap it up, we're almost to our time limit. But I'm curious. What is your make ready like for PCC?
What do you mean?
Like what's your process? Like you're the shooter, right? You're on deck. You're gonna be out. You're gonna be the shooter. Someone tells you make ready. What's running through your brain? What's your process?
So I mean, I typically just try to clear my mind. I have a tendency to start getting into some little nitty gritty things that I don't need to be thinking about, and I get that mental drift. So for USPSA, I'm thinking, solid stage plan, like exactly where my movement points are. So I'm not looking down at the ground. I'm using peripheral vision. And honestly, I'm doing the same thing for IDPA. But IDPA this is my personal opinion, taught me to do a faster load, make ready, and ready to go. Whereas a lot of people are doing the hand gestures, doing moving around, counting targets. I don't think you will ever see me do that, like ever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in comparison, at USPSA, I'll probably be one of your faster load and make readies, just because I'm just not used to doing that. And actually, they've changed the rules where now if you start doing some of that, you can actually get a penalty in IDPA.
That failure to do right, darn it. I say that every match or something to somebody. They shoot or something really good. Failure to do right.
Yep,
Everyone
it, ha-
laughs at me, but
it happens.
yeah. So then, all right, Aaron. So I mean, obviously, you're wearing a fancy shooting golf shirt. Who we got? Who supports you? And give it's that part of the show where you can kick back and make sure they get their love too.
Yeah, you see right here, DFC Arms, a friend of mine's gun shop, Cerakote Laser Company in Georgetown, Kentucky. Um, Very good friend of mine. But Leif Kunkel, GX Products, Shooters Connection, have been with them for years. Obviously, a Kentucky company. They support, you know, all of our sports between IDPA, USPSA, Steel Challenge. Tough Products. I've been with them for quite a long time. Hunter's HD Gold. I remember when Brian first came to IDPA Nationals in Talladega, and everybody said, "What the hell are them yellow glasses?" And within 2 years, it was like that's all everybody was wearing. And it's not just about his product, but how he supports people with a great product. Love him to death. Pro Shot Products. I brought them on board. They're a U.S. based company out of Illinois. They support military and law enforcement. That's really why I took them on board. Other companies that truly help me, Midwest Competition Works, creating magnetic pouches. I've got one set of pouches that I can now use for IDPA and USPSA. I don't have 50 million pouches between both sports. Trophy Ear, I've used them since 2015. Great hearing protection. Zero Sports jerseys. Obviously, now you see them just about everywhere. I talked to Ray about that. Like I equate him to Brian with Hunter's HD Gold. Zero Sports came to the scene and was like nobody ever heard of them, and now they're everywhere. He's
Mhm.
supporting with the RO jerseys with USPSA. It's great. You'll see him at so many majors out there. And of course, I do have to give a shout out to Da Vinci. David at Da Vinci, great person to work with on a build for a rifle. Has helped me out personally with both my rifles. Great supporter, sponsors quite a few matches and stage sponsors and stuff like that.
Oh, and that's really great. It's great to see there's a bunch of companies supporting you and giving you some love and support, and it's nice because they've got a good ambassador to help promote them and put a good light on them. I've never seen anything bad or Aaron's always in the up and up, guys. Like I, I joke with him about all his oldness and things, but he's a good dude. If you see him at a match, he's definitely going to help you out, even though he says he probably won't, but he will. I mean, he'd probably even give you his own rifle and be like, "Oh, your rifle broke here, you can borrow mine." Maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't trust anybody with my own rifle, but me. Well, that's just me being a weirdo. Anywho, Aaron, if people want to get a hold of you, talk more about IDPA, if they want to get more involved wherever they can, where's the best place for them to reach you?
For me, mostly Facebook. Facebook's probably my primary source where you'll see me post constantly. Video wise, I post all of my videos both on my YouTube channel as well as Facebook. But getting in direct contact with me, probably Facebook. Hit me up about anything, IDPA, USPSA, Kentucky shooting, whatever the case may be. I from on the IDPA side, I help match directors all over the country and actually even some of our international partners. I help them do some stage reviews, answer questions on rules, and help them get their matches published and through headquarters and out there to put on a great show. So,
Oh, very good. Very good. And it's good to see that you're out there supporting everybody and doing what you can to make the shooting sports a little bit better. So, Aaron, brother, thank you for hanging out with me and chilling with me. We always have a good time whenever we see each other on the range. So it was nice to be able to sit down and share your message and share a little bit more about you and get more people to know you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate being on the show.
Yep, no problem. Like I said, guys, go check out Aaron. Go talk to him if you want to talk to him about anything, shooting related or not. Go bother Aaron wherever you can talk to him. So, as I say on every show, guys, get out and do the things. See you on the next one.